Welcome to the podcast. Today, I am sharing with you a replay of a recent masterclass I did called How to Clear Your Money Blocks so that you can step fully into your next level of financial expansion. If you have been showing up, working hard, investing in mentorship and strategy, and you still feel like there's a gap between where you are and what you know is actually possible for you, then this episode is for you. So, we are going below surface level mindset work in this episode. I'm going to show you how to identify the subconscious patterns that have been holding you back, how to shift your relationship with money, and open yourself up to more ease, more flow, and more aligned financial growth. By the end, you'll begin to see what's shaping your current income ceiling. We all have one, by the way, and how to rewire your internal patterns so that you can stop pushing and finally start expanding. So, with that, let's dive in. How many of you have been in a position in your life, maybe you were in corporate sales or maybe even in your own business, but where you felt like you were just stuck in the grind all the time? Has anyone felt like that, relate to that? That was my life in my early and mid 20s. And when I graduated college, went into corporate sales, very quickly rose up the ladder and the ranks in the media company I was working with, and found myself in my late 20s having checked the boxes and done the things I thought I was supposed to do to be successful, right? Get the corporate job, buy the nice house, the nice car. I was always competing with others in my company, like seeing how much I could work, how many more hours than them I could work, how much more money I could make than other people. Like that was what was taught. And that was what I thought I was supposed to do to be successful and happy. And following that path, I found myself in my late 20s, completely burnt out, depleted, struggling with panic attacks, anxiety, and eating disorder in a marriage that was really unhealthy, and kind of looking around at my whole life saying, like, this can't be it. This can't be it. And so went on a journey that felt very scary at the time of disentangling all the things that were my life at that point. I left my corporate job with I had like 6 months of savings. I was like, I got to make it work. Left the marriage, left behind a lot of friends circles that just didn't feel aligned anymore, and started something new and started down the path of coaching and entrepreneurship. And for a good chunk of time as a coach and an entrepreneur, I felt much better in that role. I felt a great deal of freedom, was so thrilled to be on, doing my own thing, having my own company. And yet, for some reason, no matter how hard I worked, I still kept making the same amount of money that I made in corporate. How many of you have ever been there where it's like you keep bumping up against an income threshold or ceiling and you keep doing it? I can't see all of you, Christina. I can see your head nodding. So yes, so that's where I was. And for 10 years, no matter how hard I worked, I felt like I kept bumping up against a ceiling and I couldn't break past the six-figure mark every year. And to very much consolidate the story, because I want to do a lot of live teaching today on some really cool things we haven't taught before. I finally got fed up with being stuck. And I said, enough is enough. And I had a 4-month-old son, and my husband had a dream of leaving his night shift respiratory therapy job to go pursue his passion of going to medical school. He wanted to go back to medical school. I had a good friend of mine who had died recently at the time at age 39. And I said, I don't care what it takes. I am ready to stop playing small. I'm ready to see the fullness of who I came here on this planet to be. And I'm ready to live a life that I know I'll actually be proud of at the end of my life. Because so much of my time and energy at that point was consumed with like, how much money am I going to make this month? And comparing myself to others and looking at the life that was on my vision board saying, I wish I had that, I want that, but not experiencing it. I decided to get radically uncomfortable, invested what felt like an exorbitant amount of money into coaching and personal development, got way out of my comfort zone, launched a new program, faced every fear, every limiting belief in the face that I'd been holding on to about who I was, what I was capable of. And in that process, in 6 weeks, I turned my annual income into my monthly income. And I went from 100K years to 100K months. And it happened so fast, I couldn't believe it. I would tell people about it, and I would feel like I was having an out of body experience. I was like, it shouldn't be this fast or easy. This isn't what we're taught. How is this possible? But when I looked back on it, and it took me probably about a year, year and a half to really have this download after the fact, this process came through me that we now call the 4 quadrants of quantum sales growth, which is what we teach in our community. And it's what we certify our consultants in. That was basically the thing that I did unknowingly at the time that helped me quantum leap and helped me get unstuck. And why I'm so passionate about this, and I'm going to teach you some of it today, is that I think every single one of you is here because you have a divine design for your life. Florence Scovel Shinn talks about this. She calls it your divine design. I personally believe we are spiritual beings having a human experience. You did not come here to play small. You did not come here to get a paycheck or make an okay amount of money in your business and to watch other people doing the things you want to do, getting on the stages, writing the books, retiring their partner, living in the type of home you want, and to die and to say, well, gosh, that would have been nice if it was me. I personally have found that in my life, the more I commit to living the fullest expression of me, to listening to the nudges, to paying attention to what is my heart calling me to finding out who I really am, not who I think I am through the lens of my parents or through other people, but like, who did I come here on this planet to be? And we're going to do some of this work today. The more you become unapologetically unavailable for less than what you would really love and less than what you really desire. And from that lens, money is there to help support you in that. It is there to fuel your life. It is there to be an energy exchange where you are giving value in your gifts, in your zone of genius. The more you're doing that, the more money you make. And on the flip side of that, you're getting to live your most expansive life. I think about in my life right now and in what we've done, the type of life we get to live as a result of me deciding to make that quantum leap several years ago and get so uncomfortable. My husband's in his third year of medical school now. We have a beautiful home. We have multiple homes. We have a beautiful life. Is it all perfect? No, absolutely not. That's not life. That's not how it goes. And I get to wake up every day and feel on purpose and feel so grateful for the growth and the expansion and to have a beautiful relationship with money, with team, with my business, with my clients that feels so supportive. And I want to help create that for you as well. That's what we're here for today. So, whatever the calling is that's on your heart, and if something is stirring in you as I say this, I invite you to type it in the chat. If you're tuning into your purpose, your divine design, feel free to share it in the chat. Maybe it's you want to retire your partner. There's some of the members of our community who want to do that. Maybe you want to launch a business. Maybe you want to buy a home for your parents. Maybe you want to be on certain stages that right now you look at other people doing it and you say that's for them, but not for me. But if it speaks to you, it is for you. If it speaks to you, it is for you. Your desires are green lights. You will hear me say that again and again and again as we interact, as we spend time together, as you're immersed in this material, in this community. If you have a calling on your heart, which I know you do because you're here for something greater and something more, that is whatever your language is, God, source, universe, higher self, speaking through you, pointing a spotlight on the direction you're meant to go. And money is meant to support you in that. And there's a lot of things in our relationship with money that aren't about money. This is the funny thing about money. You think it's about the money. It's not about the money. And we're going to talk about that today. And that's why it can feel frustrating and hard sometimes. Who's ever felt like, gosh, I feel like I keep bumping up against this thing and I don't know why. And it feels frustrating. Like I keep getting to a certain point in my business or my income and then I can't break past, or I keep having this recurring fear about like, What if the clients go away or the money goes away? I've had all of those. I want to let you know that. That's why I teach this. That's why I'm so passionate about it, because the more I do this work in my own life, the more I clear the energy here, the more I realize it's not about the money at all. It's about your relationship with you. It's about your identity, your self-expression, your relationships with your parents, how worthy you feel to receive. It's about those things. The more I find things flow, opportunities flow, and life feels really, really beautiful as well. And so I'm very excited for today. I was jotting down some notes this morning. This is all very intuitively guided. It's going to be different than anything I've ever taught publicly before. There will be some themes and elements you may have heard before if you've been in other classes or if you're in the community, but we're going to break this down through a different lens. And then at the end, I want to invite you to stay until the very end because we've got some very cool things going on. We are opening up enrollment for two programs today, one of which is one of my signature coaching programs, the 10K Club. The other is a live event we're having in California next month, which I'm very excited for. We've never done it before. It's going to be amazing. So I'm going to have a special guest on to talk about that. And we have a very cool bonus that we are offering for those of you who are choosing to step forward and expand into one or both of these things by tomorrow, which we'll talk about at the end. I was really tuning into like, what would I love to give people this month for stepping forward? And everything I was thinking of initially, I was like, not that exciting. And then I had this download yesterday and I told my team, I was like, yes, you get those things that are just like, heck yeah, you're so excited about it. So I can't wait to share it with you. So we'll share that at the end. My goal is that we'll have some time for live coaching with those of you who are here live too. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes, but I'm excited. So let's dive into the teaching for today. Let's start with what is a money block? What is a money block? Who here feels like you have a money block? Give me a dollar emoji in the chat if you feel like you've got a money block right now. Okay, Emma, you're taking four. Okay, we're going to move some energy around this for all of you today. All right. Yes, Jennifer, I like the bag of money. That's one of my favorite. I think my favorite money emoji is like the flying money with the wings. Although I heard someone say that's like money's flying out the window, which is we circulate money, we let it flow. I don't know, but I like that one. To me, a money block is simply, it's anything that stands in the way of you receiving the financial flow and abundance that you desire to truly support your life. Right, that's all it is. Now, I think we can make these things bigger than they need to be, and sometimes they feel bigger than us. I know I've had times where I felt like I had a limiting belief that was bigger than me, where it was like I couldn't wrap my head around it. And I think that's part of the power of coaching and mentorship and being in events like this, but then also investing in yourself more deeply, regardless of where or how you do that, is that to have someone else's perspective and to be able to help you see something that you just couldn't see clearly. It's like if you're in the jar, you can't see that you're in the jar, you're just in it. Oops. Then you can shift those things quickly. You can move those things quickly. So I'm going to aim to shed a different perspective on things today to help you if you feel like you've got some money blocks going on in your business or in your life. What are these tied to? These are tied to beliefs, often inherited, that you aren't worthy, deserving, or, and this is a big one that we're not often consciously aware of, that something bad will happen if you receive more. This is where it starts to get kind of juicy because we think consciously, of course, I want more. Of course, I want more money. Of course, I want more opportunities. Subconsciously, there's a lot attached to the idea of more that we're going to be unpacking today to help you understand where more might not actually feel safe to you yet. All right, so we'll get into that. But so that's a money block, at least in my opinion. What is money? Have we ever stopped to actually ask ourselves, what is money? What is it? It's something we want. It's something we desire. It's something we maybe think about a lot. Some of us obsess over. Jennifer saying freedom. I love that. Part of how you start to move the energy around money is you connect with, well, what does it really mean for me? What am I actually looking for? What's the feeling state I'm looking for? And with money, what we are generally seeking is a feeling of freedom. For some people, it's a feeling of safety or security. I want to invite you to never make money your safety or security. We often do that unconsciously, and it's taught that in our society. And on a surface level, can it provide that? Yes. On a deep soul level, I like to be in the place of, again, whatever your language is, God, source, universe, that's my safety, security. Money is an energy. It's simply an energy. It's an exchange. That's all it is. It's an exchange. It's a way we connect with others on the planet. It's flow. At least that's what we want it to be. You want to be in flow with money. You want to allow money to flow in and out of your life. I used to have a lot of fears and concerns about releasing money. Who here has been there where it's like it's time to, whether it's buying the groceries, paying the bills, investing in a program, and you're like, oh, I don't know, I want to do it, but what do we think? What if it doesn't come back? What if I make a mistake? Right? That's not the actual best and highest energy or truth with money. Money is meant to flow. Money is meant to circulate. If you look at anything in the natural world that is vibrant, that is alive, that is prospering and flourishing, it's in flow. Water flows, breath flows. So those are my two favorite analogies. I remember when I was working through a lot of weird money energy, I started really connecting with the energy of water and the energy of my breath and thinking about how those felt to me. I'm not concerned when I go to turn on the tap in my house about whether there's going to be water or not. I just know it's there. I'm not saying that's everyone's experience in the world, but I'm saying for me, and probably for all of you on this call, you just know, like it's just there. Um, when I turn it off, I'm not concerned if it'll come back on. When I turn it on, I don't feel guilty for needing water. I'm just like, it's on, I'm going to use some, and then I'm going to know that there's going to be more. The same with breath. When you inhale, you take in what you need. You don't think about it a lot. You exhale, you release. You don't feel guilty for having breathed too deeply or too shallowly. You let it be. You let it be natural. That's the way I want us to move with money. That's the way I want to encourage you to think about it. And I remember when I was first trying to create a different physical body sensation around money, because for a long time, when I would think about money, I would feel constriction, I would feel gripping, I would feel tightness. That's all evidence of limiting beliefs, stored thought patterns, things that are in our body telling us we're not safe to flow or circulate. Anything that creates that negative constrictive feeling in your body when you're thinking of something, it's tied to a limiting belief. It's tied to something that's not actually true for you. And so as I started to identify, oh, my body feels this or that in relation to this thought about money or when it's time to pay a bill, I started reconditioning and playing with the feeling of, okay, how does it feel to turn on my water? It feels easy. It feels natural. How does it feel to breathe? I don't think about it a whole lot. Okay, what would it be like? What would if that was actually my best and highest truth when it comes to money, both giving and receiving? So it's a flow. Money is also an amplifier. It's just an amplifier. How many of you are in Ease and Abundance with AI? One of our programs we've got right now. I know some of you are in there. We've talked about this. Both money, we're not going to talk a lot about AI today. That's not what this is about. But I've been thinking about it. Both money and AI are just amplifiers. People think that money is the root of all evil. People think that it's going to make you bad, wrong, greedy, etc. No. Plenty of poor people are very greedy. They're thinking about money all the time. They're thinking about what's in it for them. Rich people can be greedy too. It doesn't have anything to do with the money. It has to do with your soul, who you are. So money's just going to amplify who you already are. And it's going to help make your life better if you allow it to. So it's just an amplifier. Money is also the how of your vision, not the vision itself. This is where I used to get it twisted as I would make money the vision. I would say, when I'm here, then life will be complete. Then I'll feel safe. Then I'll be worthy. And it's always a moving target. What I want to invite you to do is to get really clear on your life in your fullest expression, not mine, not anybody else's in your life, in your company, in your business, your family. Who did you come here on this planet to be? And there is a certain amount of money that is required for you to live that. All right. That's all it is. And then it's about creating a healthy enough relationship with money and commerce and business and yourself that you allow it to flow in the amount that's going to actually support you in your fullest expression. Now, sometimes you play with your fullest expression. And I remember I was surprised the more I did this in my life. And it surprises you who you are actually here to be. Sometimes we can feel surprised of like, oh, I'm actually really here to, like, it is actually truly aligned for me to fly in a private jet, to own multiple homes, to travel this way, to vacation this way. It is actually aligned for me to be a billionaire, even if no one in my family ever did that. Some of you may do this work and you may say, that's not what's speaking to me. My fullest expression is something different. There's nothing right or wrong. What I want to support you in and what my team wants to support you in, for those we're working with or who choose to work with us, we work together from here, is you tuning into what is your fullest expression. Who did you come here on this planet to be? And then shifting the energy around money to allow that to flow in to support you so that you can live that out. That's what it's there to do. And there's a great deal of safety and peace in that when you realize that you are the prize, not money, right? It really changes the energy. A lot of times we chase money, we chase clients. We're like, who here's been in chase energy before? Raise your hand. I used to chase. I was telling, I was working with a private client this morning and we were talking like, I don't chase. I don't believe in it. I'm not available for it. You do not need to chase. When you remember who you are, when you do the work to uncover your own gifts, your zones of genius. Anita Morjani talks about it in the book, Dying to Be Me. She says, treasure your magnificence. When you learn how to treasure your magnificence and you realize you have a gift to give the world and not everyone needs to be your client, but your right people are going to be so magnetically attracted to you, you don't chase anyone. You let people know what you're here for. You let them know what you're available for, that you can help them. And then that's it. And money is the same thing. Don't chase money. Stop chasing money. Let it come to you. Let it be easy. It's an exchange. And this comes from doing the work that we're going to do together today on this class. So God always gives me really, and I use the word God. I also do universe, source. So again, you use whatever language works for you, but I'm going to say God here. God always gives me really fun, cool little stories and analogies when I'm about to teach a class. And I'm like, yeah, that's spot on. So we're going to talk a little bit about overflow energy now. And I'm going to share with you something that I noticed last week while I was watering my plants. So here you go. So who here would love to experience overflow when it comes to money? Like more than all needs met, more than enough coming in, right? Probably every single person. Again, I can't see you all, but I'm imagining every hand is raised or you're nodding in your mind. Yes, I would love overflow. I want you to think for a minute about what that would actually mean for you. What would overflow actually mean for you? Close your eyes if you can. And I want to just invite you to really tune into this energy. So if you can't close your eyes, if you're driving, whatever, that's okay. Just listen to what I'm saying and let yourself connect with it. Overflow energy, more than enough for all of your needs and desires met, more than you know what to do with. What would that look like or feel like to you? And I want you to just connect with, in that energy, who is being served? What does it look like in your life when there's more than enough for all needs met coming in? What does that mean for your family? What changes are you making in your lifestyle? How are you giving? How are you serving? Where is your time? Where is your attention? Where is your energy? What are you focused on? I want you to notice how present you are with the people around you, how you feel in your body, the spaciousness of your days. Just feel that. That overflow energy, that feeling of more than enough, that feeling of the faucet is always on. There's always more than enough. There's always more. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back in. So that's a feeling state. That's a potential. That's a way of being. That's a possibility. And anytime we close our eyes and we envision, the way that I think about it is we connect with something that's actually that reality is already there. It's just a matter of you stepping into it now. You wouldn't see it if you couldn't do it. So whatever showed up for you there, I feel like someone was wanting to put their kids in a better school. I kept feeling that. So whether it was putting your kids in a better, different school, retiring your partner, um, moving into a different home, giving more generously, that exists. That reality exists. That's why you feel the pull of it. Now, here's the interesting thing about overflow. And this is where I'll tell you about watering my plants last week. You have to have the capacity for it. So I don't know if any of you have ever bought those little plants. I got 4 of them at, I think it was Lowe's, like last year. And they're these cute little plants where you can see the root system. They're in these pretty little pots. And Dawn, you might have them because you got a lot of plants. And you can see the roots, and they're in these pretty glass pots. And then they have this little cork at the top that like holds the plant in with this little hole so the plant doesn't come out. So I put 4 of these. We've got this really pretty glass like windowsill in our bedroom, but it's up high and it lets this light in the morning. That's really beautiful. So I lined the windowsill with them last year. And this weekend I went to water them and I took one of them and I put it underneath my sink in my bathroom and I turned the water on like full kilt. None of the water got in. That hole in the cork was so small and the water was turned on too strong for it to be able to get in. And so it all went off the side. None of the fresh water could come in. It wasn't until I was like, oh, okay, I got to adjust the flow here. I significantly reduced the flow. And then when it was down to a lot less, it was able to get into the plant. So overflow was there. The capacity wasn't big enough to receive it. Does that make sense? So in our lives, energetically, we all have a capacity for how much we are willing to have and to hold. This has to do with money. It has to do with love. It has to do with visibility. And we can say we want overflow all day long, and we do consciously. It's like, yes, I would love to have more than enough. I would love to have way more coming in. And simultaneously, if we have not expanded our capacity to be able to receive that amount that we're desiring, it's not going to be able to make it through to us. Does that make sense? Are you all with me there? So I think this is where sometimes people can say, oh, well, manifestation and this and that stuff doesn't work. Well, it does. It does. And you must be a vibrational match for what it is that you are desiring. So if you say, I want a 7-figure business, and yet I'm shrinking at the thought of receiving, part of my body is constricting at the thought of receiving more than $10,000 a month or $30,000 a month, you haven't built the capacity to receive it yet. Nothing wrong with that, but we want to get to the root and focus on the root, not the fruit. The fruit is the money. The fruit is the abundance. It's the opportunities. It's all of it. The root is who you are being. So we're going to break down capacity into 3 core concepts here. Again, as I was really thinking about it before this call, 3 things kept coming up. And this is the work I do in my own life every single day, early in the morning and then throughout the day to help become a match for what it is that I'm calling in. Because the more, and I say this because I want all of you to hear your own story in this, the more that I allow myself to tune into my own purpose, the more I am blown away by how much bigger it is than I think the smaller part of me thought. And I am allowing that to come in my life, knowing that it is about the greater good and the collective, not about me. And I know for you, there is something far greater that you are being invited to step into than you may have envisioned possible for you before. But we have to allow ourselves to expand to be able to hold that. So capacity, the 3 components of capacity I want to break down for you today. Number 1, where does it come from? Your identity. So I mentioned earlier that there's a method that we teach in the community called the 4 quadrants of quantum sales growth. And it's basically these 4 pillars that when I look back at how did I turn my annual income into my monthly income in quantum leap so fast, it was these four things. The first one is predominantly identity. We call it mind over matter. They all start with M to make it easy to remember. So I call it mind over matter, but it's how your beliefs, your mind influences the physical 3D matter in your world. Your self-concept determines everything in your outer world. It determines how much money you make. It determines how many clients you attract. It determines the quality of your relationships. It determines what you're available for and not available for. Everything in your life is an outpicturing of your self-concept and your identity, including the things that you would not love or you would not prefer. But those are there to help you create the contrast to be able to decide, what would I really love? Okay, there's not enough money in the bank account for this thing. I'd really love to have more than enough money in the bank account for this thing. Okay, cool. Who do I get to be to have more than enough money in the bank account for this thing? Do I get to maybe actually let it be easier than before? Do I get to trust a little more? Do I get to give them my gifts and talents and service in the world a little bit more? So it's all about who do you get to be to allow it in. Now, here's the thing. A lot of us are building our life based on someone else's self-image that we picked up on from them. So if we don't stop to do the intentional work to really differentiate and distinguish and say, who am I? Who did I come here on this planet to be? What is the fullest expression of me? Then we're going to be building a life modeled off of maybe what we saw our parents do, what we're seeing our partner or spouse do, what we're seeing others around us do on social media. And you're never building something that's actually true to you. How many of you have ever looked up at from the life you were building and said, something feels off here? Like, I don't know what it is, but something feels off here. I absolutely have. And so the first step of this is knowing who you really are at your core. Who did you come here to be? And part of how I think about that is that it's the things that keep coming back to you. It's the things that bring you joy. It's the things that when you see other people doing them, maybe you feel jealousy. That's actually a sign you're meant to do it or you're meant to have it. You just haven't aligned vibrationally with it yet. So that's your work there, is to learn how to celebrate people who have and do the things you want to do. But I think about, the things that you loved when you were younger, right? When you were a little kid, when you weren't thinking about money or you weren't thinking about responsibilities or obligation, what did you love? One of the things that we did in this past year that I love the most, and I'm looking at my wall right now, I know you can't see it, but there's a framed picture of our first issue of She Sells magazine up on the wall. And when I was a little girl, I loved doing makeovers. I would do it for my sister. I have a younger sister, 2 years younger than me. And we were like little, I don't know, 6, 7. I would do her makeup and then I would make her like, so true. I'd make her go out into the woods in our backyard. And we had like an old, this was the early 90s. We had a camera, like a flash camera. And I would do photo shoots with her. And I was like, pose here by this tree. I found some of the pictures the other day and I was cracking up because I was like, those were pretty good. Like for 6, 7-year-old girls, like we did a good job with them. But I would make her do photo shoots. So we would take pictures and she'd be my model. But the process of helping her, like, number one, look and feel her most beautiful, and then taking photos of her and letting her see herself in the spotlight, that has never left me. That is something that brings me the most joy. And so and I had a vision for so long, I was like, I want to launch a magazine. I want to launch a magazine. I love doing this. And I had a mentor a few years ago tell me, oh, it's such a waste of time. You're going to sink a ton of money into it. Don't do it. And so I paused, I pushed it. I was like, okay, fine. And so I put it off for a few years and then it wouldn't leave me. And last year I was like, we're going to launch this baby. I don't know. Is Angela on, our editor? Is she here right now? I don't know if she's on or not. But anyway, it has been such a beautiful gift to be able to do this and create this. And when we moved into our home that we're in now in December 31st, 24, we bought this home. I saw the office space in this home and there was this blank spot on the wall that I normally would have put like my quarterly to-dos or whatever. And I said, no, I am leaving that blank. And when we launch the magazine, the first issue is going to be framed and it's going to go on that wall. The magazine didn't exist yet. Well, it's there and it's on that wall now. And that is a creative expression of something that came from my soul that I love to do, that has now become a part of how we serve people and our business model. But those learning to actually pay attention to who you are, who did you come here on this planet to be? What lights you up? What brings you joy? If you weren't thinking about money, right? If you weren't thinking about time, if you didn't have responsibilities, what would you be doing? What would you be spending your time on? That's part of who you truly are. And like I said earlier, a lot of times when you tune into who you really are, she or he will be far bigger and far greater than what you were conditioned to believe growing up. All right. And this is something where a lot of times we can unconsciously stop ourselves at the level of quote unquote success our parents achieved. I think success is a lot more than money, but we'll stop ourselves because that's where we feel safe. That's where our nervous system actually feels safe. And yet there's something far greater within you that's wanting to come out. Type a one in the chat if there's something far greater in you right now that's wanting to come out that you can feel. And it takes defying the old limiting beliefs. I'm so glad this is speaking to you, Ariel. Thank you. It takes defying the old limiting beliefs to actually trust and create safety for yourself. And we'll talk about that a little bit today, in the knowing that that thing that shows up, whether it's like, I see myself speaking on the biggest stages in the world. I see myself having a multi-million dollar, billion-dollar business. I see myself being a stay-at-home mom. I see myself traveling the world in our RV. Like seriously, whatever it is that's speaking to you, there is a divine design and pattern for your life. Maybe it's all of those things. I do some of all of those things. Like we're taught it has to be this or that. No, it doesn't. Especially for my ladies in the house. No, it doesn't. You can do it all. You can do the things that matter to you. This is really important. You can do the things that truly matter to you. You can do all the things that matter to you. But pay attention to what lights you up. Pay attention to what desires won't leave you alone. I heard this really great quote from Stephen Covey the other day. He said, "We achieve inner peace when our schedule is aligned with our values." We achieve inner peace when our schedule is aligned with our values. And I think for so long in my life, why I felt stuck, and for many of us, if you're listening to this and you are feeling stuck right now, you haven't stopped maybe to get clear on who you really are, who you came here on this planet to be, not who others think you are, who you've maybe been up until this point, but who are you really? Who did you come here on this planet to be? If no one was watching, if no one would know, what would you do with your life? What speaks to your soul? What are those quiet whispers? And it's going to be different for everyone. For some of you, that might mean leaving corporate and starting your own company. For others, I don't think everyone needs to be an entrepreneur. I think you do you and you follow what lights you up. For others, it might be, I'm going to rock it in my corporate job, but I want to reduce my hours and make more money and sell more and have more time with my family. Like, again, there's no right or wrong. But these are the questions we have to ask ourselves. Abby, it's so good to see you. It's 12:12, as you say, we can do all the things that matter to us. Yes, yes, yes. I've been listening to some books lately, like that are deliberately the opposite point of view of what I have. And it's been interesting to listen because I'm so open to hearing other people's perspectives. Um, and there's a lot of stuff out there that says you can't have it all. You got to limit, you've got to restrict. Are you going to be able to eat at every restaurant on the planet, travel to every single city, read every book ever written, do all those things before the end of your life? Probably not. Probably not. But are you going to be able to do all the things that matter to you and live a rich life? And maybe that means being a mom or a dad or a parent or a partner, or a sister who's like really present with your family and also having a badass business or rocking it in corporate and having more time freedom. Yes, you can. You absolutely can. I have created the schedule in my life where I take Fridays off. I'm off on Fridays and I work half days the other days. And I'm reducing the amount of hours I work right now while increasing money. So shout out to Dawn, while increasing money because I am for two of them, but I'm bringing home my third this year to do it, homeschool my kids and have time to travel more and do the things that matter to me. And I'm going to major, I don't know if anyone is a fan of Nigella Lawson, if you ever watched her cooking show, or if you like, I love that stuff. Like, we're planting a garden this year and I want to spend time with my kids out in nature. Like, we already do all these things. But what I want to tell you is that you can do them and you have so much more freedom than you realize. And a lot of times it's just letting yourself dream and vision, that you actually can, and that it's allowed for you and that it's permissible for you. The two other pieces, the other two parts here that I want to speak to are increasing capacity when it comes to both your feminine and your masculine energy. So we're going to talk briefly about both of those. So identity first, then feminine energy, then we're going to talk about masculine, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about your relationship with more. So we all have both types of energy, feminine and masculine energy. This is something else we really go deep on in our programs in the 10K Club, which we'll talk about a bit today. It does not have to do with being a man or a woman. It has to do with different parts of you. Feminine energy is about flow, vision, receiving. I want you to think about, and what happens, I'll say this and then I'll give you some things to think about. We unconsciously pattern our inner feminine and our inner masculine off of our mom and our dad, whoever raised us, right? The people who raised us growing up. And so as a parent now, I realize we are always doing our best and we screw up. I get it. But it's our job as grown adults now to undo some of the things that were done. So I want you to think about your model of feminine energy growing up from probably your mother, most likely. Did your mom receive easily? Was she lit up? Was she in flow? Was she like goddess energy all the time, right? Or was there maybe some other energy you experienced? Again, this is not making anyone's mama wrong. I love my mom. I love my dad. I'm just saying we have to become aware of these things so that we can shift and move it. Did you experience resentment from her, bitterness, contraction? Was her energy dim? Did you see her have a hard time receiving? You are going to pattern your inner feminine off of that model that you received growing up. One of the things that I teach in the community is your level of income will never exceed your level of self-worth. I remember seeing my mom apologize for things all the time growing up. A lot, a lot, a lot. She would apologize for everything. You think I had an easy time receiving and feeling worthy at the beginning of my journey? Very apologetic in my energy, struggled to take up space. The first time I had a mentor really work with me on becoming unapologetic in my energy, it felt like I was traveling to a foreign country. I was like, I can say what I want and I can claim what I want and I don't have to explain it, and I can take up more space and I can charge that for coaching and what? Yes. But it takes recognition of that inner part of you, the feminine, and what that part of you learned growing up about receiving, right? Feminine energy, it's about desire, fun, joy. For me, it's part of how I model and pattern my days. Like I mentioned, half days, Monday through Thursday, and then Fridays off. That allows me to be in my feminine. That allows me to have joy. That allows me to be present with my business, to be CEO, to be rocking it during the time I'm working, and then to be off. Growing the garden, homeschooling my kids, beauty, joy, creativity. These are all elements that when you find out who you are, and then you give yourself permission to infuse that in your life, in your business, and bring in more creativity, more flow, more joy into your offers, into what you're selling, into your work with clients. If you're in corporate, whew, you will quantum leap from that energy. Feminine energy is the energy of the quantum leap. This is why when I'm working with men, and I love working with men, I've got a number of male private clients who I love and adore. When they learn how to tap into flow state and how to let things be not so hard and how to let what they want come to them as much as they're moving towards it, things click and they quantum leap and they're like, oh my gosh, it doesn't have to be a grind and a hustle the way I thought it. Yes. So reflect. If you want to tap into more of what feminine energy would feel like in your business and expanding your capacity to receive more, what lights you up? What gives you joy? Take time and money out of it. What do I love? And then just start to notice the limits on your receiving. Notice, where do you push off a compliment? Where do you say no to help? Where do you shrink what you actually want? before asking, those are all limits in receiving. Those will manifest as quote unquote money blocks. So we have to expand our capacity to receive. That's the feminine work in this, part of the feminine work in this. And then each of you also has an inner masculine. I don't care if you're a woman or a man, you have an inner masculine patterned after your dad. All right. Masculine energy is about, it's goal oriented, it's structure, it's containment, it's support. Now, again, I want you to think about no judgment, but how was dad's energy for you growing up? Divine masculine, and look, we're human. So everyone is going to have stuff that didn't feel like divine masculine from dad growing up, some more than others. But divine masculine energy, which is what we want to learn to repattern after ourselves and our own ways of being and psyche and consciousness. Divine masculine is giving, it's generous, it's protective, it creates structure, safety, stability, it honors the feminine. I think you can know that you've shifted the energy here. This was my own experience, is if you can have a desire and every part of you goes, yes. And there's no part of you that says, oh, you shouldn't want that, or that's too much, or what are you thinking, or that's going to be too hard, or you don't deserve that, you're not worthy of it, or how am I going to get there? My own inner masculine was extremely unsupportive of my desires for a long time. And I had this inner conflict where I would say I wanted more, but then I would feel like I had to go it all alone, or I would feel like I wasn't worthy to invest in or to get support in that, or I would feel like I had to really suffer for success. When I did this deeper work of really tuning into divine masculine and then focusing on creating that in myself and repatterning it, I was able to create parts that now support each other and to have a cohesive experience that when I have a desire, it feels like a full body yes. And there's no resistance the way there was before. So hopefully this is making sense. I know if some of you are newer in this material, it may be like, what in the world is she talking about? Those of you who have been in this material for a while, you might understand it. It might make more sense. But every level you ascend to will require a strengthening of both your feminine energy and your masculine energy. So going from 6 to 7, there's a certain level that you get to expand your receiving, and there's a certain more level of structure and support you get to put into place for that. Going from 7 to 8, which is what I'm doing right now, there's another level of being open to receive, of releasing control and putting different level structure and support in there to be able to hold that. All right. So we have to clarify our desires. So know who you really are. Then we get to shift our relationship with money, right? To be the how of the desire to allow flow. And then we get to expand our capacity, right? Evolving from both our feminine and our masculine energy to allow it to happen. Um, Laura D, you're on this call. You're still on this call, right? Can I, okay, I'm just going to share at a high level. Laura sent me this cool message yesterday about how she used to feel a little bit burnt out by meetings in corporate. Laura's one of our $1 million business clients. And she was on 6 meetings yesterday and felt totally lit up by them. Now, Laura has also given herself permission. And Laura, I hope you don't mind that again, I can't see you on camera. So, oh, there you are. I was thinking about you right before this class, and I was like, I hope it's okay that I share that like you were lit up by your meetings. That's really all I want to say. Laura's given herself permission to realign her schedule and her life and increase capacity in both feminine receiving and masculine support. And what we were talking about was, or what you shared and what I messaged you back was that you have expanded capacity when you can do something that used to feel draining or depleting, and you're like, oh, I don't want to do this. And you do the same thing, but you're like, oh my gosh, this feels amazing. You've expanded your capacity. So there's a lot of ways that we can, you said, never be happy. And I'm not saying like I don't think it's a normal day to have 6 meetings in a day. I can't imagine. But in a day when you're in flow, when things are flowing and you're excited and you're lit up about everything you're doing and everything is a heck yes, yes. So ways that we get to expand our capacity. I was thinking about some things in my own life where I used to have caps in terms of what I thought was normal that have expanded. And again, I think that's part of the value of being in a community, in a coaching program like this, or whatever speaks to you. Get yourself in a container in a community that's going to support you. That's what really matters. But where you can help normalize a new level, and that will expand your capacity. So our mortgage, like what we pay for our mortgage right now, it's a little less than 12,000 a month. At a certain point, that would have felt like a lot to me. I couldn't imagine. I remember the first time I moved into a $2,000 a month apartment, and I was like, oh man, we called it the sexy girlfriend. My boyfriend and I at the time, we called it our sexy girlfriend because we were like, oh, this is it, baby. We're living. And it was beautiful. It was wonderful. But what we do now is way different. And that I got to expand my capacity in doing that. I'm looking at another home for us now, which will be, who knows when it is, 6 to 12 months, we'll see. But it's something I'm manifesting right now. And the mortgages are like 30 or 40 a month for those types of homes. So that is normal for a lot of people. That's what I want to mirror to you. There's nothing big or small. It just is. I went from having owed about 13,000 in taxes one year to owing almost 200,000 in taxes the next year. That was normalizing something different for me. That was an opportunity to expand capacity, right? Normalizing support team is what I want you to think about in terms of support. And that looks like team, coaching, all of it. For the version of you who is living as the fullest expression of you, what type of support does that person require? All right. Does that person have a travel nanny? Does that person have a private chef? Does that person have a driver? Does that person have a pilot? Does that person have this or that? Again, normalizing the things that maybe lived beyond the edges of what you felt comfortable receiving before. This is part of expanding capacity. And this is the work we have to do because we will only show up, thrive, succeed, receive to the edges of our own capacity. That's what this is about. I hope that this is making sense. And this is some of the work, again, that we do in the community. But that's the game here. If you want to shift and clear money blocks, you have to expand your capacity. So the whole game, expand your capacity and ability to receive more, to have more, to hold more, to serve more, to give more, and to be more. And the final thing I want to speak about there before we talk about what's coming up, what's available in this super cool, juicy bonus I've got for all of you today as well, is your relationship with more. This is really big. Again, we think, of course, I want more. Of course, I want more money. Of course, I want more opportunities. Of course, I want more clients. No, you don't. A part of you probably doesn't because of what it actually means and what your subconscious association with more is. All right. So more on the surface level is like, yes, of course I want that. Subconsciously, what does more actually mean? More responsibility, more opportunities to disappoint. If you have a belief that, oh, I disappoint people, I don't want to attract more clients, right? That's more people to disappoint. More tension in my family or in my marriage. If I feel like I'm having fights over money, I don't want more money. That's going to cause tension and fights. More judgment, right? More money is more visibility a lot of times. If you're afraid of being judged by others or having other people say something about you. And so we have to shift our relationship with more and create safety around that and realize, again, it's never actually about the money. It's about your relationship with more and who you get to become in the process of holding that. But I want to talk a little bit about what we have coming up and what's available if you would like to go deeper into this work. And so I think it is one thing, and it is a beautiful thing, to sit on a call like this in a training and get some good information and have some shifts. And I think there is value in that. And it is another thing entirely to put yourself in the arena and say, here we go. And to say, no one's going to do it for me. I know I've got to show up. I know I've got to invest in myself. I know that when I circulate money, when I show up for myself, when I make decisions and choices as the version of me with my goal accomplished, then I quantum leap, then I collapse time. That's another thing entirely. And that's where, when I see the members of our community who do ascend and quantum leap so fast, it's because they chose to stop playing small. They decided they were unapologetic about getting what they wanted. And they decided to actually believe in themselves and invest in themselves, maybe more than ever before, maybe for the first time before, and go for it. And we are here to help support you if you are feeling the call, the nudge, the shout, the whisper for more. If you have that dream life that's not really a dream life, it's there for you, it's meant for you. It's just a matter of you deciding that you're worthy to receive it and that you're available to actually live it out instead of thinking about it over and over again. We are here to help support you in that. 10K Club. This is this is my baby. I love this program. 10K Club is the most beautiful community program, course, group coaching program where you receive it's like a full masterclass suite of all of my trainings on the 4 quadrants of quantum sales growth. So it's mind over matter, how to rewire your mind, your belief system for anything you want. Money, there's a whole module, a whole group of modules on money, how to receive more, shifting your relationship with it, increasing your financial thermostat, masculine and feminine energy. So some of the work we did today, imagine going extremely deep in that, shifting your relationship with your feminine, opening up to receive like never before, while also creating the masculine support structure and containment to help you in what you're doing. And then the final quadrant of teaching we call method. So my background before doing this work, I have sold and coached sales, business, personal branding across probably every industry you can imagine. I've worked with top 10 podcasters, billionaires, New York Times bestselling authors, very cool, famous entrepreneurs, top like number one sales reps at B2B, top tech companies. I have coached them on how to ascend and grow and build their businesses. And so we have next level strategy in that program, and that's my background. I have simply found that 95 to 98% of your results is going to be based on your identity, your self-concepts, your belief. A lot of the work we did here, and I think that's where people miss it. They're like, oh, I'm all focused on strategy. No, you're only going to create results to the level of your self-concept. So we've got to shift your self-concept first to allow you to normalize what it is that you're calling in. And then from there, we can give you the strategy on how to get there. But so it covers it all. There's twice monthly live coaching with me, group coaching with me. There's implementation calls with one of my coaches where you can go deeper in small groups as well. You have lifetime access to the full training suite when you join the program. And there's a beautiful community. There's a live event that we do in the summer. It's going to be summer or fall this year that you'll get a ticket to as part of your membership as well. And it is absolutely beautiful. I want to bring up a 10K Club alumnus. Is that, I don't know the right, something like that, alumnus, who is also co-hosting this beautiful event with me next month. And so Allison, if you don't mind just introducing yourself, who you are, where you're coming in from, and then maybe sharing with anyone who's here just about your experience in, because you've done 10K Club, you've done that. So I think that would be helpful to speak to what that did for you, the transformation in your life. And then we'll talk about this upcoming weekend too and what's available to people.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so good to be here with all of you today. I'm Allison Lacusier. I live now in Newport Beach, California, which was a manifestation come to life this last year. And I am an executive coach, a speaker, and I hit my first 7-figure year last year. And it was way fun and way easy. And it was, like Elyse said today, I was listening to everything that you were sharing. I was like, yes, this is the path. This is the way. And it gets to be really beautiful and really, really fun. And so the big shift for me was a year ago, December. We were at our consultancy certification and I was just sitting in the room and I just made a decision. And for each of you here today, if you're not in the place that you want to be, and if you're in a place where you're like, I have these bigger dreams, I have these things that I desire, it really does come down to a decision. Like it gets to be easy after you make the decision. And I made a decision that I was going to go into the 10K modules and I was going to consume them and apply everything that I learned. I was like, I'm doing it. Like, no more excuses, no more like dabbling in things. I'm going all in. And the cool thing about the 10K club is that I feel like it is the foundation for every single next level quantum leap that I've gone through since. So it helped me leap, but then also have the skill set, the mindset, the identity to continue the leaps. And so I see it as very, very foundational in so many different powerful aspects. And it gives you everything you need, truly. It gives you everything you need to go through what Elyse has gone through in her life, to what I've gone through in my life. And you can continue going back to it and learning new and different things if you get through it all. There's a lot in there, which I was listening to it every single morning. I was like, we're doing this. And my life completely changed. Like my vision board today, like we just, and part of our event in Arrowhead is going to be kind of like the one of the final things on that vision board coming to life. Um, it's all come for me. And it really was doing the work, getting into the modules, learning. And then the other thing I would say, like you said, Elyse, was being in the community of what's possible. So when I first met you and I first saw some of the things that you were doing, there was the limitations in me. I was like, that's not possible for me. Like, I can't do that. It's easy for Elyse, but it's not for me. It's not true. And if you feel that way or think that way, then the 10K club is where you need to be for sure. Because it's so powerful to see outside of even what you might think is possible for yourself by being in the energy of other women who are doing the things that you want to do. And so just being in that ecosystem is incredibly powerful.
Mm. Thank you for that. And I think what you shared is so big because I used to think that too. I would look at other, usually it was women, although there were some things that men were doing. I was like, oh, I would love that. But it was usually women. And I would say, well, they can do it because,
Yeah.
right, they've got this, or they've got more support, or they've got a partner who backs them differently, or they've got this or that. Like it was all my ego trying to help protect me from quote unquote failing, from not getting it. Like that's it. That's all it is. And when for me, it actually took humility to say, oh, I'm not that different from anyone else. Like my ego is telling me I'm different and that they can do it, but I can't. I'm not that unique or different that these things that everyone is saying work and other people are getting results in, I can't as well. And that's what will shift everything is when you're like, if she can do it, so can I. And so I want to acknowledge you because the growth you've had and what you've done and created with your life, and you're just getting started. Like we both know it's so beautiful what's coming and what's happening. It's a testament to the power of the work of embodiment. And so, do you want to share? I don't know how much you can or want to share about your final manifestation and how it ties in with what we're
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
But we can talk about the weekend too. You tell me.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Okay.
my partner and I, when we moved to Newport Beach, we immediately like went on a trip to Lake Arrowhead and we're like, we want to buy a cabin here. And so we started this journey of manifesting our dream cabin. We knew exactly what we wanted. We were so clear on it. And we're like, maybe like in a couple years it's going to happen. Well, we closed on the place like a week ago. So we are hosting, Elyse and I had this $1 million weekend plan like a year ago. And I was like, Elyse, we just bought a cabin. Let's host it there. And so we're hosting this $1 million weekend at our brand new cabin. And the funny part is we just found out this yesterday. We're not actually going to be there until that weekend because we're traveling, we're speaking, we're at events. And so that weekend we're going to be really like having a housewarming party of our manifestation come to life and hosting a really powerful event on your $1 million life, your $1 million business. And something I was thinking about this morning, Elyse, was when I came to your home in Maine, the new one that you had purchased, and I got to like kind of like walk through your manifestation. It was so powerful for me because I knew like this was your dream come to life. And so I'm so excited to welcome people into my dream come to life as like it's evidence. It's just you get to do whatever's on your dream board and like let's go and live inside of it. And so we're going to be hosting it there. It is so beautiful. We have a movie theater that Elisa's son is very excited about and
Yes.
it's literally it was perfect. Every we went there, it has a creek, like there's so many incredible things there. So we're so excited to host and have you in that energy.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, the house is stunning. So this is April 24th and 25th in Lake Arrowhead, California. If today's episode resonated and you are ready to step into your next aligned financial expansion, I want to invite you to come join me. So, depending on when you're listening to this, we will have a few opportunities available. And you can go check either of these landing pages to go see what's going on and what's available to you. So, if you are listening to this in real time, we have an event coming up called the $1 Million Weekend. And my team is going to link it in the show notes. I'll say the URL out loud. It's really long, so just bear with me for this. But it is going to be a transformational 2 day live event coming up where you will step into $1 million wealth energetics and also map out your $1 million plus business strategy. So to learn about that and to grab your seat, go to milliondollarbusiness.elysearcher.com/$1 Million Weekend. I told you it was long. Again, it's milliondollarbusiness.elysearcher.com/$1 Million Weekend. And if you are looking for a super high vibe, incredible community of female entrepreneurs, sales leaders, sales professionals who are expanding into six, seven figures and beyond in their businesses and are doing it while being moms, leaders, partners, building out businesses that are in their zone of genius, or maybe you are in corporate sales, but you want to make a lot more money and you're like, there's got to be another way other than the grind and the hustle. There is. Come check out the 10K Club. Come join us there. It's elysearcher.com/10K Club. You can get involved in the community and in our incredible coaching program right away to help support you in your growth. So this is your chance, my friend, to move into ease, alignment, and true expansion. If either of these resources are speaking to you, we would love to help serve you. You can also always reach out to my team to schedule a call, elysearcher.com/free call. We are here for you. We want to support you in your expansion, in your growth. And I trust that today's episode resonated for you and spoke to you powerfully. As we close out, I want to remind you to trust yourself on your path to success. Remember that your desires are green lights leading you and everyone around you to a brighter future. I'll see you on our next episode.